This video we're going to show or learn about calling methods in Java. So let's create a new project in IntelliJ, a Java project. We'll do the command line from template and we'll call it method, no base package. Here we go. So we have our main. And in here can always do a system out, hello, and run this, and we'll see hello get printed out to the console window. There it is, hello. And we can minimize this console window or output window or whatever. Well, let's say that we want to do a little math. Int x equals 10, int y equals 11. And what we want to do is we want to add these. Int z equals, and let's call a method that adds. Ooh, we can do that. How about add two ints, we'll call it, and we'll pass it x and y. Now you can see that add two ints is red, saying I can't compile this. I don't know what that is. And if we try to run main, it will tell us, sorry, cannot find symbol add two ints. All right. That was a compiler error, not a runtime error. So what we have to do is we have to create a method, and that method's going to be add two ints. It's going to take two parameters, and it's going to add them, and it's going to return that value. Now, static int, we're going to return int, add two ints. It's going to take an int, we'll call it operand 1, int operand 2. Give it a body, return operand 1 plus operand 2. Okay, now this static thing is always like, hey, what the heck is static about? That just means that these methods are on the class main, not an instance of the class main. Okay, so that's a topic for future discussion as to methods that are on the one and only class as compared to methods that are for every instance of the class. This static says, just to repeat, the static says this is a method on the one and only class main. All right, let's leave that for future. Ignoring the static, we say, hey, I want to call the add two ints method, and I'm going to pass it a variable x and a variable y. X is set to 10, y is set to 11. Okay, I could have just as easily done this. 10, 11, same thing. Might as well leave it like that since I've already changed it. And after that, let's do a sys out z is plus z. Now this method here, that's the method name. Let's look at the syntax of it. Told you what static is. Int, that's the return value. This method is going to return an int. That's the name of the method. The thing before the first comma is the first parameter. The parameter's name, variable name, is operand 1, and its type is an int. After, there's a comma separating it from the next parameter. The next parameter, its variable name is operand 2, and it's of type int. Up here on line 6, this is the first argument, and this is the second argument. The thing that you're passing it is the argument. The thing that receives it is the parameters. So we have an argument of 10, an argument 11, and that comes into parameter 1 and parameter 2. And then all we do is we add the two together and we return their value. Let's run this. Z is 21. Excelente. Now, let's see. Let's do one more thing to it. Let's create another method. How about string z as text equals a method turn int into text. And we're going to pass it z. Then we're going to do a sysout on z as text. Okay? So now we need a method that says turn an integer into text. Let's create that method. Now what's it going to return? It's going to return, see how the return value here on line 9, the type of the variable name is z as text. The type is string. It's expecting a string to be returned. String, the method name, turn, and it's going to take an integer. And I'm going to call it in value. Now we've seen before that we can concatenate an integer into a string. So all we're going to do here is return, and this little concatenation thing says, hey, here's a string, concatenate the value to it, and that's going to just, it's an empty string, but it's still a string. So that's going to take the int value and turn it into a string. Let's run this. Oh, z is 21 and 21. Let's do one more thing to it, just to prove to you that it's a string. Let's do a string method on it. Let's do a sysout z as text. Let's do two upper. No, that uppercase on a digit doesn't mean anything, does it? Let's get the substring from 0 to 1. I know you don't know what substring is yet, but we're just going to say take the whole string and give me part of it. Let's run this. And here it is. So z is 21 is the integer. 21 is z as text. And 2 is the substring of 21 where we just pull out the first variable. Maybe it'd be better if instead of substring we just said character at the 0th position. Let's run that. Same thing. And this time let's get the character at the 2nd position. It's 0 based. There we go. Alrighty, so now you have seen, here we did, we've created two methods. The add2int method, which takes two integers and returns an int, and the turn int into text method, which takes an integer value and returns a string.